I'll never forget the chill that ran down my spine when I woke up to check my security camera's footage, only to discover that it had recorded something impossible at 3 a.m. I had set up the camera a few weeks prior, after a string of bizarre occurrences in my neighborhood, and I had been checking it every morning out of habit. But nothing could have prepared me for what I was about to see. As I scrolled through the footage, I noticed that the first few hours were uneventful, just the usual shadows and darkness. But then, at exactly 3 a.m., the camera captured something that made my blood run cold. Scene. At first, I thought it was just a glitch or a trick of the light, but as I continued to watch, I realized that it was something much more sinister. The camera showed my empty hallway, the doors to the other rooms slightly ajar, just as I had left them before going to bed. But then, a figure appeared out of nowhere. It was tall and imposing, with long, spindly limbs that seemed to stretch on forever. Its face was twisted and grotesque, with eyes that glowed like embers from a fire. I felt a wave of fear wash over me as I watched the figure move slowly down the hallway, its presence seeming to fill the entire room. As I continued to watch, the figure began to move more quickly, its movements becoming more erratic and jerky. It was as if it was being pulled by some unseen force, and I could feel a malevolent presence emanating from it. I was frozen in terror, unable to look away from the screen as the figure began to manipulate the objects in my hallway. It was twisting and contorting them in ways that defied explanation, and I knew that I was witnessing something that was not of this world. Scene. The figure's actions became more and more aggressive, and I could feel the fear building up inside me. It was as if I was being pulled into the footage, and I could feel the weight of the figure's presence bearing down on me. I tried to tell myself that it was just a trick of the light, that it was just my imagination playing tricks on me. But deep down, I knew that what I was seeing was real. The figure's power was growing by the second, and I could feel its malevolent energy spreading throughout my home. As I watched, the figure began to move closer to the camera, its eyes fixed on me with an unspeakable hunger. I felt a cold sweat break out on my forehead, and my heart was racing with fear. I knew that I had to get out of there, to escape from the horror that was unfolding before my eyes. But my legs were frozen, unable to move as the figure loomed closer and closer. Scene. And then, just as suddenly as it had appeared, the figure vanished. The camera showed my empty hallway once again, the objects returned to their normal positions. It was as if nothing had happened, except for the fact that I knew what I had seen. I was left with a sense of unease, a feeling that my home was no longer a safe haven. The question echoed in my mind, what else is my security camera capturing when I'm not looking? The darkness outside seemed to press in around me, and I couldn't shake the feeling that I was being watched, even now. The figure may have disappeared, but its presence still lingered, a haunting reminder that some things are better left unrecorded.